Chapter 6, Game-Changing Relevance. So in the last chapter, I introduced the relevance issue. I explained how it was really just a crack in the foundation, how the relevance scores were really, really poor, and that's something that needs to be addressed not only from a cost perspective, but also from a good citizen perspective and wanting to build a Facebook ad reputation that Facebook looks at us favorably, wants us to be on their platform, and doesn't look at us as a nuisance or somebody who's ruining people's user experiences because we have terrible relevance scores. So in this chapter, I'm going to talk about the massive breakthrough we have, which actually credit to a buddy, Nick, of mine, who is in a mastermind with only people who spend over $1 million a year on Facebook. He's the guy I actually trained to take over my position at the last company when I left over there. And he shared this piece of advice that was just absolutely game-changing for me and game-changing for us, and it's how we're running everything right now, and I'm going to show you it, and I'm going to walk you through it. So again, current results relevance, starting to hit our CPL goals, seeing some exciting stuff, relevance score down in the 3 and 4s. Better than the 2s, which is what we had a lot of 2s and 3s. We're at the 3s and 4s, a little better because of congruence, but still an issue. And so this is the warm-up solution. Again, this is something you need to be trained on. I'll show you it. It's really not complicated. It does involve a couple steps. You gotta do it. This is how, and let me explain where this came from. I would talk to people, different, different traffic guys and experts that I talk to, and they would say, hey, the issue is you need more engagement on your ads. Because when there's engagement on your ads, the relevance is better and it reduces costs. So I sat there and when I spoke to my buddy Nick, and I said, well, here's the thing. Whenever we run an ad, we just always set it up as a conversion campaign, and then we drop a cold ad to a cold audience, and we say, convert. And so, it might work, like people might convert, but there's no engagement with it. And so this is the big shift. And so the first thing we did was, instead of starting with an ad, we started with a dark page post, not an ad. Again, don't worry about the lingo. I'll show you in a second. It's not that complicated. Start with a dark page post instead of an ad. Like it and comment on it immediately, myself and with my other, in our team, right? So that it immediately starts to get some traction. Then run page post engagement ads. Okay, so a page post engagement ad is when you boost the post up so that people are engaging with it. Why? Because then we'll get likes and shares with it before we ever run it as an ad. And once it has likes and shares, guess what? Facebook sees it, gets better relevance out of the gate, and then our ad costs are lower, right? We'll spend about $100 to generate 25 to 100 likes. Again, to either our fan page, if the fan page is big enough for whatever campaign we're working on, or to a target audience. As long as there's no negative feedback and good engagement, we'll then move forward, right? So this is a chance, right? If we run that page post engagement and we get like a bunch of people putting angry faces on it, we're not going to turn it into a full-blown ad, because we know it's going to have issues. It's going to have low relevance because people are, having negative reactions to it. And so we're only going to run it as long as we see no negative feedback and we start to see that good engagement. We're gathering likes, we're gathering shares, and some are faster than others. Sometimes we'll spend, $100 and I'll get 100 likes on a post. Sometimes we'll spend $100 and we might only get 25 likes or 10 likes or 15 likes. That's okay. The point is, it's not going in cold, right? It has a certain amount of views. It doesn't have any negative feedback on it. Has likes, has some shares. And then we run the conversion ad to the warm post. This is golden. Screenshot this, print it. Again, if you're tattooing these notes on yourself, like the guy from Memento, little movie reference for you, feel free to tattoo this one, because this is literally game changer. I'm going to show you the proof of this in just a moment. Right now, let me walk you through the warm-up solution. So here we are on one of our pages, and I'm going to show you what we do. And again, Facebook changes their navigation and user interface like people change their shirts, but same basic process. So links might move a little bit, but not a big deal. All right, so I'm in my business manager, okay? I'm going to click down. I'm going to go to page post. This is where it all starts, right? Going to go to page post. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new page post. So I'm going to click create post. Okay, I'm going to put a URL. Where are we sending them? This would typically be a tracking URL. I'll just put in our main. I don't know why I'm mistyping right now. www.e5camp e5camp.com/webinar. Let's say we're sending them there. Of course, we usually have a tracking link. The E5 camp, just writing bogus copy in here right now. Master class is opening for enrollment. Come experience webinar. I would never write copy like this. This is just filler stuff, okay? Put a call to action button. Usually use learn more is what we typically stick with. Link in the headline, free webinar. Experience the new customer acquisition marketing protocol. And I'm going to show you some more ad examples, so please don't judge me for just putting stuff in here right now, okay? This is for your benefit. e5camp.com. So we want to make sure our display link matches where we're sending them, right? We don't want to send them to a URL that's different. The description always appears below the link, so I'll put stuff in like, this is a free training, no credit card or purchase required. That's a little best practice I picked up from Fred Lamb right there. Okay, I'll only use this post for an ad, and then of course we're going to add a picture to it. So let's add a picture. Let's add this picture of Todd teaching. Okay. Confirm. Now we're going to create the post, okay? So that's the first thing we do. We created the post. Then we're going to go into the post, okay? And notice we will now not just like, but we're going to love the post, right? So I have multiple Facebook accounts because we run multiple different things. So I'm going to love this post, all right? Now what I'm doing is as soon as it goes live, I'm going to love it. I'm going to wow it, okay? Again, if you don't have multiple accounts, you can always have your team members, employees, friends, send them a link. Okay, so now what happens is this is already getting out of the gate, and Facebook algorithm's going, oh, look, people like this new piece of content. I'll then also put a comment, and what I like to do here is a comment, again, shows engagement, but the other thing that's really cool about it is it's another place to put a link, like, hey, here is a link to the free workshop I mentioned above. Think you'll find it completely eye-opening and helpful. And then I'll put a link here. And I've noticed that we'll get about an extra 15 to 20% of clicks just from people clicking here in the comment, okay? I'll put that comment on. Notice what I'll do. Yep, I'm going to like my comment too. Again, what I'm doing is I'm creating engagement out of the start. Okay, I'm creating engagement all over this post, okay? From all these different places, creating engagement right on the post, right out of the gate, creating engagement on it, create a comment, did all that stuff. Now the next step that I'll do is I'll then come to Ads Manager and I'll run a, engagement campaign, okay? So I'll run an engagement campaign, right? Page post engagement. I want page post engagement. I'll then choose my audience, right? I'll choose my placements, all that other stuff. Okay, again, I talked about audience. We'll start with the core audience. I always leave, for now, I'll talk a little bit about placements later, but for page post engagement, always just leave it automatic, leave the bid automatic. And then we'll go over here, and notice we'll go over here. We'll find the post we just created. Okay, will appear here, and if it doesn't, you could just enter the post ID. Okay, so what's the post ID? Well, let me go back a second. I'll show you. Page posts. And so right here, you can just copy this ID. Sometimes it doesn't show up in the drop down. So sometimes you need to just copy this ID and you'll paste it in. And again, that's the first step. We'll then run that page post engagement, 3 days, get those, 25 to 100 likes. Can you copy the ID right here? We just copy it there, and then it probably took me off that page, but let's see. Oh, good. We're still here. Okay. So when we were over there, we would then just paste that in to where it said, right, if we were doing engagement. All right. Page post engagement. We would then continue down here, and then in the page post engagement, make sure you have the right account, business account set up here. We could then, either it's right here in the drop down, or you can always enter the ID. If for some reason it doesn't populate, you can choose to enter the ID here. That's the other way to do it, and we just paste that there. We'll run that. Now what happens, we're warming up, right? We're getting positive engagement. We're basically dancing with the algorithm, and the algorithm's getting happy. Then, and this is right, I never did this. It was always cold ad to cold traffic, go. Then we come back, we start a new ad. This time we have a conversion-based ad, right? We name the campaign. We set up the goal, right? Our goal is, remember, because we set up these targets, it's an opt-in to our high-ticket webinar or whatever the case may be. We set up our audiences, okay, work through, again, focus on the U.S., focus on the sweet spot. We'll do automatic placements to start. I'll talk a little bit about dividing them later. Start with whatever budget we're comfortable with based upon how much we're looking to spend and all that good stuff. And then we will use, instead of creating a new ad, we're going to use an existing post. What post are we going to use? Well, let's pull up our page. Okay, so hold on one second. It's not pulling up just yet. There we go. So Facebook likes to be a little slow sometimes. This page is not loading properly. But in a moment, there you go. Okay, good. So now look, there's our post. And look at it. It already has 4 likes on it and a comment. And in fact, after we run our warm-up solution, it'll have, 25 to 100 likes, plus a whole, plus a handful of comments. And that is what's going to set us up. And let me show the results of that. So boom, remember, you saw the results before. Now look at this. This is, relevance, 8s and 9s, okay? The CPL is really, really solid. And our relevance goes from 2 to 4s up to 8 to 9s. This means that we're running ads that Facebook likes, Facebook wants to see, and this is how we have to do things. So you can hear me smiling when I'm saying this after all the stress we went through, to know that now we can put ads up and consistently generate not only leads in the goal, right? Ads that are hitting our key metrics, which I'm going to cover metrics coming up shortly, but that we're doing it with relevance, which means that Facebook, if we ever had an issue, we can go back and say, hey, listen, people love our stuff. It's all 8, 9s, and 10s. People find it relevant. Not that we have an account that's constantly like, man, nobody even likes your stuff. Like, that's just begging for trouble. And so super excited. This is how we're always going to do it, unless something major changes. And so I want to make sure you follow it. And that is game-changing relevance.